And welcome to the Profile Pod. I'm your host, Double A, back for another spectacular episode of the pod, right here in the studio with my man standing by. Before we get to our guest, I just want to say thank you to everybody for all your support, all the comments, all the input, all the love. It's really appreciated, man. So thank you once again for all of that. And don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe right here on YouTube. Leave me a rate and review on Apple Podcasts. Again, man, you guys are awesome with doing that. So let's continue to do that. Always like to mention that. So thank you once again. Let's talk about my man, Henry's Frames and Posters, our sponsor. Here, once again, Bob Marley, his painting is it speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. Go check out Henry's Frames and Posters. I will leave the link in the description on YouTube. So go check out Henry's Frames and Posters, man. He's got all kinds of different paintings. He's got athletes. He's got musicians. He's got gangsters. If you like Scarface, if you like The Sopranos, all of those, he's got those for you, man. So go check out his products, his merchandise. Amazing. Henry's Frames and Posters. This is the podcast that brings on individuals doing extraordinary things in life to inspire the human spirit. And tonight, we have a gentleman here who's doing some big things in the movie industry, and he's only been in the movie industry for a short period of time, and so it's really impressive what he's done thus far, and he's here to talk all about it. He made the trek out here, and for that I'm really just in debt to you, man, and for being here, and I want to thank you, man, from the bottom of my heart. My man, Big Joe Castro is in the house. How you doing, Big Joe?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm right here learning from you, man. You got that voice. You got that thing going on right now, and I appreciate you having me here today, Double A. Thank you for this frame. Appreciate it. You know what I mean? And does he have pictures at his store with you on it?
No, actually, on his Instagram page, he does.
Oh,
yeah.
but he doesn't have you framed up yet? Okay, all right.
Not yet.
Okay, but soon, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what? Driving out here is not a problem, man. Like, if it would have been an 8-hour drive, I would have did it. You know what I mean? Because I believe like we support each other and we got to be there for each other. And man, the only way up is each other, pushing each other up. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, exactly, man. That's a testament, man, to your character and to your dedication. And there's no secret as to why you've been so successful in such a short period of time. Not only that, man, but in life, you got such a great inspirational story. And like I say, Joe, I bring on individuals here, man, who do inspirational things, man, who've had stories of inspiration and who uplift and who motivate. And it's for me, I'm spoiled, bro, because I do this every week for the most part. And I get to meet individuals and talk to individuals like yourself who are chasing and going after their dreams and making them come true. But yeah, thanks again, man. I appreciate you're being here, man. And so it means a lot, brother.
Of course, man. I just as much as appreciate you having me here. You know what I mean? I know security keeps passing and checking me out and coming down here. Kept passing me too, and they were looking at me like, "What's going on? What's that guy doing in this area?" But it's all good, man. I made it here unscathed, so I'm good.
I already called them off, bro. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. I thought I was getting profiled to come to the profile. You know what I mean? Pod. So it's all good, man. I made it one piece.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
No, man, but let's jump into it, man, because again, we were talking earlier, and how you've done so much in the movie industry. You jumped in, I think I want to say 2018. Correct me if I'm wrong. 2017, 2018.
18, yeah, 18. At the end of 18.
20, yeah, and again, what's been kind of the catalyst for you, man, to be so successful, to attain a level. It's such a short period of time, man. Let's face it, man. It's impressive because I've done my share of acting. I'm an actor myself, and to see what you've done is really impressive, man. So I want to kind of, pick your brain, and I'm sure there's other actors out there who are interested in learning, what kind of strategies I can implement. We can implement for ourselves, for our careers. And and then hopefully you can impart some of that stuff, man.
Yeah, for sure. Above all, you got to thank God for everything he did for me. You know what I mean? Because I asked him, I said, Lord, like, I want to get involved in the movie industry. Like, if you can show me a way or bless me, then I'll go for it. I'll do it. And so I did. And man, like I said, in the first 2 years, I started doing the acting, but then made a lot of friends. But then also, I got put into being a producer at the for the Cholo Zombie movie. That's the first one I did, as a producer. And then they bumped me up to executive producer because of what they saw me doing for them, And then it just started snowballing from there, to Monstro movie, being a producer there, and then working on Suicide by Cop, working on man, it's been you have the names there, man. It's like it's so much going on that I really, yeah, I blank out when it comes to all the movies I've done and been a part of as a producer, assistant director, associate producer, associate director. But man, and I want to act, but I've had people say, "Hey Joe, like who do you know in the industry that you're moving up so fast?" And I had a guy goes, "I've been at it 10 years." He goes, "And I'm still doing background." And I said, "You know who I know?" And he goes, "Who?" And I go, "God. He's the one that's blessed me and blessed my path and my way. So he showed me favor. So that's the only way because I'm nothing special. You know what I mean?" And to come on board with Cedar Films and more creative films as a producer, looking, I got the tattoos and I got, my style or whatever it is, of being a gang member from back in the day. But they saw past that. They saw, I could produce and I can, deliver on the things they needed to make these movies happen. So, like I said, it's just all God. And the only thing I can say to people out there that want to be actors and want to be producers, directors, cameraman, whatever, you just got to go for it. If you have the ability, it to me, it's like these circles. There's circles of people, and you get into independent film, right? And you get into this circle, and then as you're growing and you're becoming better at what you do, you get into this other circle, and then people from that circle know people in this circle, and then you just grow and grow, and then before you know it, you're bumping into that circle with Paramount Pictures and Universal Pictures and Sony Pictures, and then
Wow.
God willing, you're able to get into that pool and that circle. And then the whole thing is never forget where you came from. Never forget and always reach back and help the next man up or woman, whatever, but always reach back and help out. You know what I mean? So that's the formula right there is just to work hard. Don't give up. If you go to a casting call and it doesn't work out for you, don't give up. Just work harder. Go to acting school. That's the number one thing I can say is go to acting school with. I went with Anthony Gilardi Acting Studios in Hollywood, right
Okay.
there on Melrose. Best coach there is in the world, right there. He works with all the A-listers, and he won't brag. He'll just say, "Look at my resume." You look at the resume, and you're like, man, because they call him into the big studios to go and help them get everything together and help the actors, to create their characters. So the guy's phenomenal, And I went into class, thinking like, okay, when I went in there, I think I was 50. So I went in there saying, "Man, I'm a 50-year-old ex-gang member, all tatted down, used to always having your back against the wall, always having your guard up." And, but I had to drop that at the door. And, just like he said, he goes, "You have to drop it at the door because you're the one that's paying for this class. So if you're not going to do that, you're just shorting yourself. You're wasting your time and your money." And I said, "You know what? That's true." I had to drop all that at the door. And then, when everybody's doing this goofy stuff, and I said, "Man, this ain't me. What did I do?" You know, um, I went week after week, and I was like, and I would drive far, from the high desert out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a couple hours, each way, but I did it, and I wound up dropping my guard. I wound up like just being myself, just being a goofy dude that didn't have to be all hard and gangster there no more. And I started to develop a character. I started to develop um, just myself as an actor, and I was really breaking through. And it's almost like therapy. It helps you. It helps you hear. It helps you hear. And it was something that was really I had a big breakthrough with. But then COVID hit, and when COVID
Of
hit,
course.
yeah, they said you can do the online courses, and I did for like a couple of weeks, but I wasn't feeling it. I'm more like in person. You know what I mean? Like I know you told me we could do this today on Zoom, but I rather be face to face. That's just the way I am.
Absolutely, man.
And ain't nothing like creating those memories or creating that connection,
Yes.
being right in front of that person. So I just put my account on hold. I said, no, I'll wait till COVID's over. And so now I'm just waiting to get my life together as far as like I got a lot of things going on, projects. But as soon as all that's done, hopefully by the end of this year, I'm going to get back into class
Okay.
because I still have the aspirations to be more in front of the camera than behind. And people say, you're going backwards. Like you're supposed to be a background and an actor and then a director, producer, whatever, but I'm going backwards. You know what I mean? I'm starting from up here and then going. But we'll see. We'll see, man.
The path least known, right? It's always unique, but that's cool, man. Yeah, like you said, you started as a producer, and now you're working your way into acting, and yeah, like you said, it's usually the other way around.
Yeah.
But I said, man, it's a unique path, and that's there's something to be said about that, man. And I was talking to an actress, and she was telling me, so she was giving me some big names that are in acting, still taking acting classes, and I was really surprised, to see there's like, and one thing I got out of that was like, if this person, this big name, is over here still taking acting classes when they probably don't even have to, right? Because they have such a big name, and they can probably get acting jobs pretty easily. But that just what I took from that is that if I'm gonna take myself seriously as an actor, and here you are saying it too, is go to acting school, man. Take those acting classes because. Number one, you got to hone your craft, right? And I say that all the time. You got to do I don't care what you do in life, got to hone your craft. And number two, that's a great networking opportunity as well, right?
Yes.
I've heard.
It's a great networking opportunity, but also like when you go to the class with Anthony Gilardi, like he knows people that do commercials. He knows people at the studios. So when they need people, they go to him and say, hey, because people that have studied under him has been like Clayton Cardenas from the Mayans TV show.
Oh, okay.
I was sitting in class. He was sitting next to me in class.
Wow.
Even though he's doing Mayans and he still goes in there, you know what I mean? Because
exactly.
Iron sharpens iron, and these guys still want to hone their craft and be better at what they do, even though they're phenomenal. But for them, like me, I'm my biggest critic when it comes to movies. When I see myself on the screen, I'm like, man, I should have did this. I should have did that. So it's at the point where I'd rather not watch it or don't watch it that intensely. I'm more like, if my scene comes up, I kind of look the other way or whatever, and then I watch the rest of it, But that's what we do, and people that have that passion for it, they go back to class and they go and they like Richard Cabral has been there,
Wow.
Clayton Cardenas. Like there's a lot of big actors that have went to Anthony Gilardi. So I mean, there's something to it, and like I'll tell you, it really helps you. It really does. You might think, oh, I don't have to go in there to learn how to say words or how to do this. Man, it's not about that. It's about developing the character. It's about learning your scene and what happened before that scene started. You know what I mean? So that way you can grasp what happened. Was it tragic? Was it happy? So that way your character can like throw that out there,
and relate,
project it. Yeah. And so man, there's so much to learn, and it's crazy. Like even myself, I was just like, wow, like I've really learned a lot. And I've even had the directors tell me like, hey Joe, you went to class. I'm like, yeah. They're like, we could tell from the first thing you did to now, like it's a big difference.
Wow.
But I still feel like I have a lot more to grow.
Yeah, no doubt. I think you're just scratching the surface, Joe. I think.
Yeah, and invest in yourself. If you're gonna spend money, you're gonna go buy $1,000 PS5. Go spend that on acting classes. It doesn't have to be with Anthony, but I'm just saying he's one of the best. But go to acting class, invest in yourself, And if it wants to be a cameraman, you can always go to classes in Hollywood and learn how to be a cameraman, director, whatever it is. Just go for your passion.
There it is, man. No, I appreciate that, man. And I saw you in another interview where you were kind of talking about, okay, we have to act like a bear or I don't know, a cat or whatever. Yeah. Share if you could share a story, man, maybe as to or how did you kind of overcome that, leaving that I don't know, I want to say your ego or leaving everything at the door, all your predispositions, everything at the door.
Yeah.
How did you get to that point? What was it that you flipped that switch and you said, you know what, I'm going to do this? What was it that kind of was the catalyst for that?
It's because like I was telling my wife about, yeah, man, we're in class and they want us to act like this and they want us to do. And she goes, well, you paid this money to be in class. And she said, my son, paid for my class. My son's the one that said,
Oh,
"Go for your dream, Dad. I'm gonna pay for it."
wow.
So my son, he goes, she goes, Mijo paid for the class. You have to put everything into it if you're gonna do it. And
Okay.
and your time, your fuel, and everything, going out there. If you're gonna do it, do it. And I thought about it. I go, yeah, you're right. So when I went to class, yeah, I left my machismo at the door. I left my 50 years of always having my back against the wall. I checked all that at the door, and I said, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it now, because there is no, going back to yesterday.
Mm,
You got to
yeah.
start it today. So I did, man, and they had us like, okay, everybody, you have like 30, 40 kids, right, or students.
Uh-huh.
Some of them are like my age, but a lot of them are like way younger. They're like in 20s and 30s. And they go, okay, this is what you're gonna be, and they pass all these papers, and one guy's a hawk, another one's a bear, another one's, and I remember, man, like everybody's crawling around, and you're like, man, what did I get into here, man? Like, what, really? You guys want me to be a bear, like, rawr, and
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm standing there and I'm looking, but everybody's into it, and I'm like, and I like to be like racist, or I'm like, man, all these white people are acting, like they're birds and they're pigeons and they're this. I go, man, why can't I be like them? Why do I gotta be so like hard? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And so I said, you know what, F it. And I just started doing my thing, man. I started being raw, walking around. And in my mind, I go, man, you're acting stupid. Hey, what are you doing? But on the other back of in my heart, it said, you got to do what you got to do to get where you want to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just did it, man. I did it, and I wound up going in front of the class and doing scenes by myself. And you're sitting there, and it looks like a stadium seating, and there's like 20 to 40 people watching you, and you're in the center stage, and you have to do your scene, And whether you're sad, you're crying, you're happy, you're whatever you're doing, you got to do it, and you got to do it with your whole heart. You can't be in there shy or timid. You got to come at it. And one thing I can say is Anthony, when he's teaching you, he's passionate.
Mm.
You usually end at 12. If he's not done at 12, he'll stay there till 1. And most teachers or people that be like, oh, I'm out of here. It's 12. We're all out here. Let's go. No. If he's in the middle of it, he'll stay till 1, 1:30, whatever, until it's done. That's the passion he has. So if he has the passion to teach you, you got to have the passion to learn. And I thank God every time I went up there and I performed, I never got scolded or yelled at, or I got corrected, but nothing like harsh,
Yeah.
Where other
Yeah.
people would get it more harsh, you know what I mean? Because they're like, hey, you got to learn this. You got to do this. Well, what happened to this character before he got into this scene? And you're like, oh, I don't know. Like, no, you can't. You got to know.
Yeah.
Was he mad? Was he sad? Was he angry? And so he's just teaching you so that way you could be the best you could be at your audition. Because why go to an audition if you're not going to try?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's a waste of time, waste of their time, waste of your time. So, yeah, there's a lot to it, but it's worth it at the end. It is. It really is.
I think you have to immerse yourself at the end of the day. You have to commit, right? Otherwise, you're not going to get anything out of it. You just waste your money. I think.
Yeah.
This is what I'm hearing. And but again, Joe, I'm not surprised, man. Because I know your character, man, and I know you're a man of your word, and you're in it to win it, man. Bottom line. And I think I heard you on another interview say that everything you do, man, you give 110%. It doesn't matter what you're doing in life, and they always say, man, how you do anything is how you. Or, I forgot how it goes. How you do something is how you do everything, or something like that, man. It could be this most minute task, or something grand. How you do anything is how you do everything, man. And I think that approach is I think it's a catalyst for success. I think, man. It's but you've again. I wanted to kind of run down some of the movies you've been in, man, and again, Cholo Zombie, Suicide by Cop, Sugar Silence, and Everyday Violence, Santa Muerte, and the list goes on. Kilroy, which you also, if I may mention, you were also a producer.
Yeah.
On this one, and this is actually on Amazon Prime, correct?
It's on Amazon Prime. It's on Tubi. It's on. We also have it on YouTube on the LA Times channel. It's TIMEZ. You can watch it there for free. On Tubi, you can watch it for free also. You know what they wanted to do? They wanted to get the message out there, you know, to the youngsters that the life of crime and killing and all that, it's not worth it. And that's what Ernest wanted to get the word out there. You know, that was his mission, was to let the youngsters know that there was no life in crime.
Yeah, man. I was watching this and it was powerful, man. I saw your scene there as a at the beginning of the film where you guys had the, I guess it was a his head in a vice,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's hardcore, man. But like you said, it's conveying a message. And
Yeah, you got to show the bad to show the good,
yeah,
you know, and that was what the whole message was about, was to show that, you know, even though, you know, everything that Ernest went through, Kilroy went through, that at the end of the day, you know, he found salvation, you know, and thank God, you know, he was able to do that and get the word out there, and he was working for the church, and you know, just getting the message out there about God. Um, but it's a powerful. I've had so many people say, "Hey, Joe, like, I couldn't watch the whole thing. Like, I was locked up, and it brought back a lot of memories. And I had to come back and watch it later, you know, and just stories like that. I've heard a lot of those stories. My daughter, she doesn't know about Varios. She don't know about gangsters. She don't know about none of that stuff. But when she watched it, she started crying. There was the scene where Kilroy runs into the they call the guy that runs the prison,
Warden.
the warden, yeah.
Yes.
And they start talking, and then Kilroy winds up praying for the warden, and the warden had told him that you put a hit out on me, and Kilroy goes, I don't remember that. And he goes, but you know, if I did, forgive me, you know, and I want to pray for you. And my daughter started weeping, you know,
Wow.
she's like, man, that was so powerful, you know. And so, yeah, there's a lot of those scenes in there that are very, very powerful. But you really got to look at the movie and watch it, and you'll see a lot of scenes that you're like, wow, that's a trip that happened, you know.
Mm,
Yeah, it's very, very powerful.
definitely, man. Yeah, it's available, like you mentioned, man, and on all those platforms. And yeah, go check it out, ladies and gentlemen. And my man Joe right here is acting in this film. And how did you become involved with that project, man?
I came in later on the project, you know, towards the tail end of it, but I just wound up, I knew the guys at Cedar Films and More Creative Films, and that's when I was like, just started working with them, and we were doing Suicide by Cop first.
Okay.
And yeah, and then after that, they're like, "Hey Joe, like we want to get you on this one," you know. And I go, "Okay." So I got in on this one. You know, I only have a, when you're doing producer, you can get into scenes, but for the most part, you're working behind the scenes. So they'll get you into scenes when they need you. But like on this one, I do three small scenes. You know, the shot caller scene, the death scene, and then when we rob the barbershop.
Okay.
And but most of the time, you're behind the scenes doing what you got to do to get, you know, things done for the day. You know, for the filming. And same thing with Cholo Zombies and Monstro. You know, you'll see me just very little in there, but really I'm behind the scenes working. You
Okay.
know, and those wind up being 12 to 16-hour days. You know, it's just full. Yeah, it's all gas, no brakes, like the youngsters say these days. You know.
Yeah, no, no doubt, man, no doubt. And at this point, I mean, y- are you? What do you enjoy more? I don't know if you can, you know, kind of distinguish between the two. You know, do you prefer, or not know if you prefer? Is there an enjoyment that you get more out of being behind the camera or in front of the camera? Do you have a preference at this point, or you love them both the same?
I'm all about a challenge.
Mm,
So me having multiple sclerosis, it messes a lot with my short-term memory and remembering stuff. But also in acting class, I had Anthony call. He said that's BS on me because he wanted me and my friend Adrian to remember a scene. So we'll go into this story real quick.
yeah.
And he goes, "I need you to remember a scene right here, and you guys are gonna perform it." We go, "Okay." So me and Adrian, we didn't know, like, we're okay. We get our script and we're remembering our scenes. He goes, "Okay, get up there, and you guys are gonna do it." So we get up there. Like, it took us like 3 weeks, and we got up there and we did our scene. And so me and him, we're going, we're going. We remembered our lines, and we're going, we're going, we're going. He goes, "Wait, wait, 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 stop." He goes, "How much did you guys memorize?" And we're like, "Oh, we did up to this." He goes, "Up to page 8." We go, "Yeah." He goes, "You're supposed to do a beat, which is like a page,
Okay.
maybe a page and a quarter. You guys did like almost like a whole play. You did the eight scenes He goes, that's crazy. He goes, and you're telling me you have MS and you have a memory problem? Yeah, I call BS on that one. And
Wow.
we're like laughing, like, man, we did all this memorizing and everything for, well, I guess for nothing, but at the same time, it was for something. It showed that we could do it.
Absolutely.
So every time I act, it's a challenge for me. Like, I go, I'm going to get this. I'm going to nail this. You know what I mean? So I like the challenge. But producing, I like the challenge because they have me get locations, cars, casting. I make props. I do whatever they need me to do. I do. Like for Troll Zombies, they had that Aztec sword. I made that myself at home
Is that
for
right?
the movie. Yeah, and I've made like for tomorrow's game. I made like an old antique radio that they use, and I didn't know it was gonna be the main prop for the movie because tomorrow's game is it's a movie about it's kind of like Sandlot meets Back to the Future,
Okay.
and the guy goes back into the past, but
I
the
like that.
radio wound up being one of the main props, for that movie, and so I enjoy doing that too, the challenge of that. So it's hard to pick, man. It's hard to pick.
It's but they're so different, right? Uh,
Yeah, they are.
I think as a producer, you gotta have that mentality. I mean, both you gotta have the mentality where I got to get this done. I want to get this job done, and whatever the task, whatever comes up, it's like we got to get this done. Bottom line, right? As a
Yeah.
producer,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
So I can't even imagine how challenging that may be in certain moments. I mean, you're sharing stories about building swords at home and just doing what you got to do
Yeah.
to accomplish the goal.
I just did a movie with Tara Reid, from
Oh,
American Pie and Sharknado and stuff,
uh,
and
you just mentioned her name and it reminded me of the Big Lebowski.
yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And we're working on this movie, and they wanted me to make this old New York style door buzzer. Like when you're in New York, they have the studios, and they gotta go hit the buzzer.
Yes.
They go, we need one of those made, Joe. So I go, you got 24 hours. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay,
Oh,
so I went online and I saw pictures, and next thing you know, I made the thing, right? And so they put it up and they shot it. Well, one of the guys, he's a doctor, he's invested in it, and he's like, Joe, he goes, can I keep this? Because I'm gonna have it a special frame because I'm from New York and this reminds me of home because it looks exactly like these door
wow.
buzzers. And I go, yeah, I mean, go ahead, keep it. So he kept it and he got it framed and he has that in his house right now, as one of the props from that movie. So yeah, it's a trip when you're able to make something and impresses people. They get impressed by it and that satisfaction right there,
Yeah, man. That case in point right there, man. That's you know. But I kind of wanted to take it back a little bit, Joe. I mean, you grew up in Orange County, the Placentia area. What kind of kid were you, man? Back in the day, were you that outgoing kid? Were you the shy kid, kind of reserved? Or tell us a little bit about who you were back in the day. School age and into junior high, high school type
Yeah.
of thing, man.
Well, I grew up in Orange County in the city of Placentia, but I grew up in a barrio called La Jolla Street.
Okay.
And La Jolla Street is one of like the oldest neighborhoods in Orange County. And I was third generation. My parents and my grandparents were from there too. And man, I was always the Joker. That was my nickname back then, was Joker. Because I'd always just have everybody laughing and clowning around and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Uh huh.
But I grew up in Orange County back in the 80s and 90s when it was super active. When people were getting shot and stabbed, and it was like, yeah, gang banging
Yeah.
it was at its highest.
No doubt. No doubt.
And but yeah, so I was just like, I don't blame nobody. It was just, and I didn't even really see it as being in a gang. I saw it as it was just life, living life, and those are my friends, and this is where we lived, and this is where we protected, type of thing.
No doubt.
But thinking about it, like looking back, man, just wish that we wouldn't lost people that we did, and I feel bad for the families that were affected by it, the moms and dads. Because at the end of the day, it's the moms and dads and girlfriends and wives that they're the ones that pay the price, by losing their loved ones. So um, I left the neighborhood when I was 21.
Okay.
Yeah, and I wound up getting engaged to my wife when I was 21, and and I was just talking about this yesterday to somebody. I went to my neighborhood and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna get married. I'm not coming back." You know, so if you guys gotta jump me out, you gotta jump me out or whatever. You know, whatever you guys gotta do, you gotta do. And I went like, in other words, I was asking for their blessing that I was leaving, and they said,
Right.
"Nah, we need to jump you out. Like, you know, you did what you had to do here in the neighborhood, and you're leaving good." So
Wow.
I wound up leaving, and I've been married 31 years. I never went back. I've been back like to help out with car washes for like my friends' pops and stuff,
Mm.
but never been back to the neighborhood to hang out and none of that stuff. You know, for 31 years, and you know, I just had to do that to get away, to break the mold, because I didn't want my kids to do that. You know, I didn't want them to be gangbangers and to grow up in the neighborhood. And you know, me and my wife, we've been married 31 years. I have 4 kids. My oldest is 27. He's a teacher. He has his bachelor's degree in science and math.
Okay.
My other daughter, she's working on her bachelor's degree right now. She wants to be a teacher. My third daughter, she has her bachelor's degree in mathematics, and she's a teacher. And then my fourth daughter, she's in college right now. I push education because education wasn't pushed on me. You know, it wasn't at all. My mom and dad were both heroin addicts, and I was raised by my grandparents. You know, and my grandparents, they were like, you know, old school.
Yeah.
You know, not really into education, not even really high school. If you didn't go, you didn't go. You know,
Right.
and so, but not with me. I was like, my kids are not going to be gangbangers. They're not going to be ditching school. So I wound up being one of those proactive dads that I was always online checking their grades,
Right.
checking their, you know, were they in school attendance, were they late? You know, I would get the papers and I would mark them with a highlighter and say, why is this low? Get this fixed, get this fixed. And so I wound up, you know, they all wound up, me and my wife wound up pushing them,
Yeah.
and they all graduated high school, and now they're all almost getting through college. So, you know, it takes a lot of, you know, you can love your kids, but it takes effort to put into them, you know, because that's more stressful than saying, they're going to be what they want to be. If they want to be pendejos, they're going to be pendejos. That's not because the kids don't know what they want. You know what I mean? So you have to push them and say, hey, this is the best way. This is the best path. You got to guide them as a parent, you know, because the lazy way is saying, whatever they do, they do. But it takes effort to actually guide them. You know what I mean? And so I tell you,
Absolutely.
man, that's why I don't have hair no more, man, because, you know, all my hair fell out. Because, yeah,
I'm great, man. I mean,
yeah.
they're my kids, man. No, that's absolutely right, Big Joe. I think if you want to raise good kids, um, it takes work, man. Bottom line, it takes effort. Like you
Yeah.
just said, you know, it's easy to just okay, you know, all right. But if you want to raise champions and winners, man, you gotta invest your energy and time and effort into your kids, man. It's the only way, you know.
Yep.
And that's a true testament, absolutely, man. But you know, what's one thing, Joe, from your childhood, man, from growing up in the the barrio, everything, you know, your childhood, your upbringing. Um, what did you take from it, man? Like now as a grown man, you know, you look back, and what have you seen in your life, man, that you took from your upbringing, man? And you know those positive things, those qualities, brother.
The one thing I can say is that growing up is to fight. You know what I mean? Fight for what you want, fight to protect yourself, and you fight for your family. You know what I mean? No matter what, you know, you dedicate yourself to the barrio, you dedicate yourself to this neighborhood and to these homeboys, right? Then when I left there, I dedicated myself to my family, and I said, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die for them, for my family, you know. And at the same time, like I'm gonna push them to be the best they can be, to be good citizens, to be just great God fearing people, raise them in the church, raise them to fear God, and to know about God, you know. And that's the one thing that I feel I carried away, was just to be a fighter, you know, and to be able to have a heart for people, and to understand where the youngsters nowadays, when they're gang banging, I can kind of comprehend what they're doing. I could comprehend what they're doing, but then I could talk to them and say, hey, you know what I mean? I've been out to Boys Republic and talked to them at the
Okay.
placement. I went out there with Chino Mike and some of the other guys.
Recently, right? That was a
Yeah.
couple, maybe a month ago or 2 months ago.
Yeah, like a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we are just talking yesterday about we're gonna go again. But hopefully take Danny Trejo with us,
Oh,
and
wow.
go out there and talk to the kids, because honestly, we got to give back, man. I mean, I
Yeah.
could spend my Saturday kicking back at home, not doing nothing, or go to a car show,
Yeah.
but then where am I giving back? to the youth. So I could say, hey, this is where I came from, this is where I was from, and this is where I'm going, and this is my path. And you know what I mean? Like I've walked in your shoes, so if you want to listen, you can listen. If not, you don't have to. But when we went to go talk to those kids, a lot of them were very receptive to what we were saying. There was a couple that were like, they wanted to be hard, but at the most part, there was some asking questions and asking like, what about this and what about that? And so I feel like we might have reached them. You know what I mean? Even if it's one, that's all it's worth. That you know what I mean? If that's just one, if we can just reach one kid and to be able to change their life, it's worth every Saturday.
Absolutely, man. That's powerful. That's powerful, man. And yeah, and props to you for doing that, man. Like you said, he could be at home just chilling and
Yeah.
car show, whatever. And but I think that's powerful, man. Giving back to the community and really looking out for others, man. That's a great thing, man. And what if you could go back, Joe, what would you tell your 21-year-old self, man, or even maybe younger? Because I know you got married at 21, 22.
Yeah, I was 21.
And when you were in the thick of it, man, if you could go back in time, and what would you tell yourself, your young self back then?
The one regret I have is I would have told myself to finish school. Like I went back and I got my GED because I had my son ask me because I was saying you got to graduate school and he's like, did you ever graduate? And I felt like, oh man. So I went and I got my GED, and then I also went to college and I did college courses. But if I could go back to like my 15-year-old self, I
Uh-huh.
would slap myself on the side of the head and say, hey man, this is not worth it. Like, open your eyes,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
finish school, go to the military, do something like that. Um, I wish I could go